What up, my good people? Hey, y'all. Welcome to another episode of the Convicted to Grow podcast. I'm your girl, Coach Tressa, motivational speaker, confidence, and business coach. My goal is to empower and elevate you to grow not only in life, but in your business and overall well being. This podcast is designed to discover transformation, resilience, innovation, building confidence, and entrepreneurship. Not only will you get practical strategies about the podcast and how to grow in life and in business, but you get to hear from real life stories of other people from other walks of life who will share their stories of overcoming adversity and how they got to where they are today. So, before I introduce you, make sure if you are on the audio side or listen to all the streaming platforms, please head over to YouTube and subscribe to the Convicted to Grow channel. Okay? Make sure you subscribe. My next guest, she is a phenomenal, amazing woman. I've had the opportunity to speak to her prior to this call. And so I've learned a lot of things about her, but she is a CEO. She is a podcast host of Alpha Intuition, which we'll talk a little bit about that. She is the #1 life balancing coach. She's an electrician. She's a mom, y'all. And I met her just kind of through the social media streets because we have some, mutual friends through the Next Level Speakers community. And let me go ahead and give a shout out to the Next Level Speakers community because that's an amazing community that genuinely want to see people win. And I got to give credit where credit is due. That community has not only brought me connections in my life, but real long lasting friends and those who really truly are checking in with me and really are holding me accountable on moving the needle. So shout out to the Next Level Speakers community. Y'all, help me welcome none other than Keisha L. Blair. Hey, Keisha.
Hey, Coach Tressa. Thank you so much for having me on your show.
How are you?
Oh man, I'm feeling blessed. Like I say, this is such an amazing platform, and I'm so happy to be here with you. This is I was so happy to receive your invite, and I'm ready to just let's do it. Let's get right into it.
Yes, y'all. Listen. Well, first of all, and I'm so amazed by her because her name is her, as you can see down at the bottom. And make sure y'all go pick her up on all social media platforms. But it's at Keisha the Electrician. Matter of fact, if you are listening, it is at Keisha _the _electrician. And I'm pretty sure she's going to talk about that as well. But I'm just excited to have her here, and I'm excited that when I asked her, it was like no hesitation. She said, sure, absolutely. And so thank you once again, because again, I like to be considerate of everybody's time. So I appreciate you and helping me grow this journey of podcasting.
Absolutely, 100%.
So we're going to go ahead and get started. So let the listeners and the viewers know a little bit about yourself, like a quick overview background of yourself.
Okay, so Keisha Blair, #1 life balancing coach. I'm an electrician by trade, and what that means is that I went through an apprenticeship program, and I actually got my license through Shelby County in Memphis, Tennessee, to do electrical work for commercial, residential, and industrial. And after that, I went into maintenance, and I've worked in maintenance for the last 15 years. And I'm also a single mother of 4. I have 4 lovely, beautiful children. And let's see, 29, 27, 24. Kind of forget when it gets to number 3, and 17. So, those, that first one gets all the pictures. The second one only gets a few. The third one is like, we were kind of on the teeter-totter of like the digital age. And the fourth one, thank the Lord for cell phones, because he probably wouldn't have any pictures. So, but yeah, so me being a CEO, I have a couple of companies that I'm working on. Blair Investments is my company, and I invest in people, property, and products. And I also do speaking. My company for speaking is KeishaLBlair.com. and working on a book at this time. And I'm also working on a nonprofit. So that's a lot going on. I know I said a lot there, but yeah. So
Nice, nice, nice. Well, shout out to you for being a super, super, super mom. You know, my daughter's 27, and I was like, "Ooh,
mm,
you already know that age, mom."
yeah, 27. They're just starting to come around and realizing that they really don't know everything.
But wow, you got a lot going on for real, for real. Like I'm naming out all the current projects from the book, the nonprofit, that business sis with an S,
Yes.
girl. Whew, wow. Well, let's go ahead and get into the heart of the conversation. So, share an experience story um, that pretty much got to where you are today. Tell me a little bit like your convicted to grow moment. Maybe it was different pivotal moments in your life that you may want to share, but share whatever's on your heart right now that you want the listeners to know in terms of overcoming adversity, that resilient story about Keisha L. Blair.
Well, the first thing that comes to mind is I had someone ask me once what drives me because I work like crazy. As you can see, I have a lot of things that are going on at all times. But person asked me that question, and it was more so I gave a surface level answer of like, well, because I want to be a role model for my children. I want to make sure I do a good job at work. Um, and after I answered it, it just it didn't sit right with me. So I called him up the next day and I said, you know what? You asked me a question and all those things were true, but I really want an opportunity to add some depth to that answer. And I told him a story about when I was 22 years old. I was pregnant with my second child. I was going through a divorce and I had lost my job. I was an apprentice. I was laid off. Um, and in the construction world, you basically work yourself out of the job. Once the project's over, you have to go somewhere else. And so, I did not have anywhere to work, and my lights had gotten cut off in my home, and I had a 1.5-year old. So the child that I was pregnant with was not by, at the time, my husband, because we were separated. Um, and I remember feeding my son Vienna sausages and crackers by candlelight at 1.5. And in that moment, I thought, you know what? I don't ever want my children to ever remember this moment. And so from that point, what I did to get out of that rut was I called my aunt, and she let me stay with her for a little while. But of course, I couldn't stay there forever. It was only like a couple of weeks. So I called my grandmother, and this was in the city of Memphis. And she asked me how long, and I thought, well, I have a 1.5-year old. I'm pregnant. What do you mean how long, right? So at that point, what I did was I called my other grandmother in Los Angeles, and she said, you can come here. But I had to get there. So I decided to go to the welfare office and I applied for welfare. And they gave me $700 in food stamps and $150 in cash. Now, mind you, this was back in '96, right? So even then, I mean, $700 would go far, but $150 in cash would not go that far. So what I did was I took the $150, I bought me a plane ticket to California, and I stayed with my grandmother until I had my second child. And then I saved up my money, bought a car, and drove back to Tennessee with my two children, and at the time, my mother. And I got enrolled back into school in the apprenticeship program, and I finished apprenticeship school. And I vowed that if I made it past that point and I became an electrician, that I would always work hard and I would never ever forget that moment to where I had to feed my son Vienna sausages and crackers. So me, I only have two modes. One is hustle, the other one is hustle harder. That's it.
Come on. I like
So
that.
that's what drives me. That's what drives me is thinking about that moment to where I didn't have anything, and I don't, and in my life, we'll talk about this as far as my speaking topics, but I make sure that I don't take my time for granted. I make sure that I manage my money well, and I make sure that I have life insurance for my children. I put all these things in place: 401k, stocks, real estate. I want to make sure that no matter what, no matter how old my children get, they will always know that I'm going to be able to take care of them, even when I'm not here.
I like that. The sacrifices that you made. And then the kids today, they're different. They don't, the times are, time like back in the 90s. I remember that. I remember the 90s, and even I was like, I got pregnant in 96 and had her in 97, but I remember them days
Mm-hmm.
being on WIC. I don't know if you remember WIC.
Wick, yes, I had a lot of I had a lot of commodity food in my cabinet. I had a lot of the government cheese. Yes,
Yeah,
yes. Anything they had, I had all the cereals, milks, everything. I had them.
right. Wow. I commend you for sharing that story and just being able to look back on it now and to where you are today. It's like you made it. You had it in your mindset. Like I know there's more to me than this.
Mhm.
I'm so
Yeah.
much better than this, and I'm not. I'm not gonna allow the setbacks to hinder me from what the vision. Because you had vision.
Yeah.
You had vision of going back and finishing that apprenticeship, and so take me into that part of the second part of your life. Listen, y'all, if you know Keisha, you know Keisha, but do you know Keisha the electrician? I was like, oh my gosh, I know Keisha's, but I don't know Keisha the electrician. Let's just keep it real. That's a occupation that is
Yeah.
predominantly held by male. What out of all the occupations, tell me what was the driving force or the motivation or the like, oh, I want to get into that. I want to explore.
Well, let me just say this. So I graduated from high school when I was 16 years old. Yeah, I graduated from high school at 16. I had all of my credits and everything by the time I was in the 11th, when I finished the 11th grade. I didn't have to go to school a day my senior year, but I wanted to walk with my class. So I took a couple of courses. And then after like going for half of the semester, my counselor was like, you don't even have any real classes other than like physics and calculus. So, because I love math and science. So, that's when I started to apply for colleges. And I had a vision. I wanted to go to MIT. Well, at the time, my parents did not have MIT money, and I was too young. I was 16, so of course I couldn't get there myself. So I settled on ITT. I went to ITT Tech, started out there, and I was following in my older brother's footsteps. He's 3 years older than me, and he left ITT and he got into the IBW to become an electrician. So when I moved to Memphis, at the time I was married. And I looked up the apprenticeship program here in Memphis, once again, following in my older brother's footsteps. So he is an electrician, and he's Earl the electrician. And so, me wanting to be like my older brother, I went into the apprenticeship program for IBW.
Wow.
Yeah,
Wow.
he was my role model and my mentor, and still is.
Oh, nice. That's what's
Mhm.
up. And how long have you been an electrician?
Oh, I have to keep up with this by my oldest son because he was 8 months, so he'll be 30 in December. So 29, almost it'll be 30 years in August.
That's amazing. Like I said, that's one of those fields that's dominated by predominantly male. Um, so to be a what you call to be different, stand
Mm-hmm.
to stand out. I commend you on that in terms of that. What challenges would you say? Because I know you ain't the only one that have went into occupations where it's predominantly male. You have women mechanics and women
Mm-hmm. Pipe
construction.
fitters and yeah,
Yeah,
iron
yeah,
workers and all kind of stuff. Yeah.
what motivational encouragement will you give someone who wants to do that, but maybe they like, I can't do this because this is for male. Because truth be told, it doesn't say this is only for male only, but
Mm-hmm.
it's just how it is.
Yeah. So use the word different, and I'm just going to say this really quick. So growing up, I know all about being different. For one, I stutter, and so if you see me stutter, I try to catch myself. People who stutter, we we already know what word we're going to stumble over before we get to it. If we can think of another one in time, we don't stutter. If we can't, we just try to push through it. Um, so, growing up stuttering and on pigeon toes, growing up walking funny, I've always felt different in some type of way. Over the years, I've learned to just embrace being different. Something my 17-year-old said in a post, I think he was maybe 15 at the time. He probably doesn't even remember this, but I remember it. He said, I never wondered why I was different. I just knew that I was. At 15 years old, he said this, and it was me. That was a proud mama moment for me, because no matter who he is as a person, he wanted to make sure that he celebrated that. So I didn't do that as a child. I wasn't taught that. As an adult, I had to learn how to celebrate myself. Um, so becoming an electrician and going through a lot of the things that I went through, people telling me that I can't make it, people telling me that this job is not for me, that I need to drop out, or when I got pregnant, I actually got pregnant twice in the apprenticeship. Um, and one time I just kept going to school, and I had my daughter. No, it was my son. He's 24 now. I had him on a Monday, and I had a test on Wednesday. I was in class on Wednesday to take my test because I knew I was gonna. I made myself a promise, right? Because I said if I ever got back in this, I'm gonna finish. And in my fourth year, it was like, I had decided to have another child, and I stuck with it, and I made sure that I did not give up, and I kept on going. So there's for people who, for women who are out there and they feel like this is not for them or that they can't do it, the only person that can tell you that you can't do something is you. And if you're determined to do it, it will happen. And you can't let other people, just because they can't see themselves or they can't see you, doesn't mean that you can't do it. And I'm gonna tell you what, not had I not been an electrician, I wouldn't have been able to give my children the life that I did. I wouldn't have made as much money, because a lot of the other, I would say, the careers that are held by women, or they're considered women jobs, they don't pay as much as the men jobs do. And luckily, in the union, everybody makes the same, men and women. Now, of course, they have the different tiers: apprentice, the journeyman, the foreman, general foreman. But however, if you're at that level, you make the same thing that a man does. And sometimes in the corporate world, it's not like that, but at least in the union it was. So for women out there, if you're considering going into a career for maintenance or for construction, there's great money in it for us.
Wow, really? I didn't know that. Okay,
Oh
so
yeah.
it's union based. Okay.
Well, not all of them are, but the IBW program, which stands for International Brotherhood of Electrical Workers, I was a part of local union 474 out of Memphis, Tennessee.
Oh man. So you had did you have to wear like the goggles and
Hard hat,
all?
goggles, tool belt. I got more tools than most men I know. Wait, look, just real quick, 'cause I saw this bumper sticker that said, "I think, therefore I'm single." I'm like, yep. Or they should have one that says, "I know how to use tools, therefore I'm single."
Oh my God. Like some things, like have you ever had a problem at your own home and you was like, okay, instead of you calling somebody, you like, okay, let me go down here and explore myself because I already know how to do this.
So I'm gonna tell you, just made me think of something. So in 2014, I lived off of Get Will and 240 here in Memphis, and there was like something, a flood happens like maybe every 100 years. Well, in 2014 was like that 100th year, and the water got up like waist deep in the entire neighborhood to where it covered the receptacles and everything in everybody's home. So at least for the first four homes on the block, because there was a slope. So what I did was I grabbed my tools and I went and turned off everybody's power, so they so nobody would get electrocuted. Yeah, I
Really?
shut it off. I shut it off from my house and from my neighbors' homes. Yep,
Wow, girl. So you did commercial and residential?
commercial, residential, and industrial. Meaning like warehouses, or when you go to, like, let's just say, FedEx Express or UPS, or to where they have like the warehouses, Amazon, they have to have somewhere, that the piping and everything inside of those buildings is just slightly different than what it is in residential or commercial. So yeah, and we just use a different type of conduit, which is piping, and it's more rigid. And in homes, it's more EMT. I know you don't know what that means, but most electricians watching, they'll know what it is.
Well, thank God for giving you the KSA. In those in the corporate world, y'all know that means knowledge, skills, and the
And
ability. Girl, yes, I love that. I really love that of you that you've done that and you mastered it and conquered it. And wow. Now, in your thing, you said you're also a speaker,
mm,
um, and a trainer and a workshop facilitator. How do we electrician over here, then we speaker over here. Like, when did you realize when you said, you know what? because you mentioned in the pre-call that you have worked your way up through the years and even
Yeah.
managing and leading people. So by nature, you're leading, you're speaking, you're mentoring, you're encouraging. That's by nature, right? But where did you say, you know what? Oh, I gotta call it over here too to help really use my voice to impact others, encourage others. When was that shift and pivot moment?
Wow. So I had my first management job at 18 years old. For those people who are old enough to remember video arcades before they made like Xboxes and PS3s and all that, right? And PlayStations. So I was the youngest manager for this place called Aladdin's Castle in Lakewood, California, and at 18 years old. And so me just like I said, being a leader, me just being responsible and doing the things that a person should do. I like that side of management. So fast forward, I moved to Memphis. This is when I was got married at 20, then moved to Memphis, got into the apprenticeship program. I had my first foreman job to where it was small, it wasn't really big. Then I decided in 2014 that I was going to get into the maintenance world. And I really just hired in. I worked for FedEx Express, hired in as an electrician. I was good with that until one day I had someone that, well, let me back up. They had an opening in their training group, and there were some things to where I felt like, I think I could probably help out in these areas. So one of the first things that I did was I helped to develop a lockout tagout program. Um, and I was teaching courses. I think I trained over, oh my goodness, I think it was close to 500 people for the maintenance group on lockout tagout procedure. And during one of my classes, I had a manager that he wanted me to change something for my class, and I didn't feel comfortable changing it. So, I wasn't going to argue with him, and I just said, "Well, I'm going to go call my supervisor." And I walked away. He yelled at me and said, "You need to listen to me." And I just kind of just kept on walking. He said, "I'm a manager and you're not. You need to listen to me." And I just kind of smiled and I kept walking. I called my supervisor. I went into another room, and it was just so upsetting for someone to say that. I'm like, you know what? He's right. He's a manager and I'm not. And I probably should have listened to him, but you should never talk to anybody that way. So I'm going to have to change that. And just when I thought I was not really going to go back into management, I decided to go into management because, again, at this time, because I didn't think that people should use their power or abuse the authority that they have to talk down to other people. So when I got into management, I made sure that I never did that to people. And I made sure that once I got in there, I wanted to teach new managers and new leaders how to talk to people, how to train other people, and how to work with other people without being rude or disrespectful to them.
I like that. I like that. And this was all in your job, your current job?
Correct. Yep, yep. So I worked there for 10 years. It just recently they had a huge downsizing, and I was caught up in that, which is fine. But over the 10-year span, I was promoted 6 times, and I had held 10 different roles, and I learned a lot along the way, and it just helped me to grow in my career. So you asked me about that transition. It was kind of just that moment to where I had someone that told me that I shouldn't do something in the way they said it. So I felt like, you know what, I need to teach others, because obviously he was never trained the proper way to speak to people. He was never trained on how to have that connection to where you don't have to be rude or disrespectful. So I wanted to make sure that I got into that world. And on my climb for the corporate ladder, I was the first female senior manager of the maintenance group. For them, the existence of 50 years. So very proud of that accomplishment. Yeah, and met a lot of great people, learned a lot of great things, and just figured, you know what, this is just going to set me up for the next phase of my life and for my next journey to make sure that I promote Keisha L. Blair and that I teach and train other companies on how to. Um, just to teach their new leaders on how to treat people and make sure that they train them up correctly.
I like that. You don't settle. I love the fact that
I don't.
you keep pushing, you invest in yourself, even down when you were in 22 with your 1.5-year-old in Tennessee. So I love that about you, that you push yourself to the max to get to that next level. And I know, and I'm sorry to hear, you like you said, you recently your company downsized, and therefore, it, of course, affected you. Like I had told you briefly on the pre-call, sometimes people will like you still free spirited, like like I'm talking to you when we got on the phone. Y'all, me and her have already talked an hour before this spot already. That's why I felt bad. I was like, girl, do you have any more energy left in you? But sometimes the setbacks in life, people are like feeling down and out about it. Like I would have never known unless you said something like, that's why I was like, well, when did this happen? You're like, just a few months ago. This is this year. And I'm thinking like, what? Are you just still bubbly and spirited? Um, but in life, sometimes those setbacks prepare you for your comeback. And
Yeah.
sometimes, I ain't gonna say sometimes, but when God is taking you to another level, when God is shifting and pivoting you to another level, sometimes a door has to close in order to
Mm-hmm.
redirect you to what He's been calling you to do. I feel like you said, just over the years, you mastering not only being the electrician and the woman you are, but you master that woman of resilience, the purpose, and I'm pretty sure you had visions of seeing so much bigger than, because you could have just stayed just being an electrician, like, and when I say
Mm-hmm.
electrician, just being the level 1 or level 2, because some people do that on their job and they're comfortable with it,
Mm-hmm.
but sometimes you have to bet on yourself, and especially to make more money and put yourself where you see yourself. You said you was promoted like 6 times.
Yeah.
Like,
In
wow,
10 years.
tells me that people were watching you. You were a woman of
Um,
character, a woman of integrity, a woman of producing. You was producing, and so the fact that you've made so many great strides and accomplishments there, you still like free spirited to this day. Like, I'm got this going on, I got this going on, which we're about to share and go into. But I just commend you on just the smile, the perseverance, the go getter attitude, because I wouldn't have known, and the fact that you had something to take away, and I said this before, like even when you lose something in life, it don't necessarily have to be a loved one you lose. You could lose something that you've had, like you said, your baby, like something,
yeah.
your job, your house, your car, whatever, and you could grieve off of that. And I'm seeing something off of you, like this transformation. Like that's why I can't wait to see what the rest of the year bring you, for real, for real. But one of the things that really got my attention, and the reason why I reached out to you, was because I saw you on my timeline, and you was talking about your transformation, like
Mm.
your, you losing weight and things like that. I want to share, if you can, just share a little bit about that in terms of that moment as well, and that
Okay.
it
So,
tied into kind of where you are now today.
oh, absolutely. So, first of all, anyone who's been in management, you already know when you first get into management, it's really not ever what you expected. You're working more hours. You're giving a lot more of yourself up, right? You're sacrificing a lot more. And one of the things that I sacrificed is my diet. I gained so much weight. I was the heaviest that I had ever been, even though I was probably the most accomplished person in the group in my company, right, as far as the woman. But like, me earning a 5-star, opening up 10 locations, hiring over 300 people, all these different accomplishments that I had, the one thing that I neglected was myself. And when I had gotten the senior manager job, because I beat out 12 guys for that job. I studied hard, I worked hard. When I got that position, I was 277 pounds, and that was the heaviest I had ever been in my life. Over the transition of, well, and so they announced my position that I got that job on March 8th, on Women's Day of last year, 2023. So I was, very proud of that, but I wasn't proud of the way that I looked. So fast forward to this year. Well, no, it was like October of last year when I first joined. I saw myself on camera and I was like, I really didn't even know I was that big. I'm like, who is that? I'm like, what? Oh my goodness. So I said, okay, I've got to start doing something different. And even if I would just get up and just walk around the office, I would just take, for my lunch break, I would just walk 30 minutes, even if it's just something. If I wouldn't speed walk, I wouldn't jog. I was just walking down the hallways just to make sure I got some type of exercise in. It started with that. And then it went into me just watching what I ate and not eating past a certain time at night. And I don't really count calories because I don't really have time for that. I don't try to cut out things out of my diet. What I learned to do is not eat so much. If I want a hamburger, I can take a quarter of the hamburger and not go get me a triple cheeseburger, right? I still satisfy that craving. So that's what I learned to do. And over the time, so since October of last year to now, it's been 6 months, I've lost 42 pounds. So me just talking about life balance, thank you. So me being the number one life balancing coach, I can't talk about life balance and I can't balance myself internally. It's like the inside has to match the outside.
Oh my gosh. Wow. Well, congratulations for
Thank
that.
you.
That's what I like to hear. And you said something that really resonated with me personally, because I was like that, working hard, working all the time and neglecting my health. But
Hmm.
that resonated with me because at the end of the day, and I don't know who needs to hear this, listen, your health is wealth.
That's
You
right.
said something. You was the most accomplished, meaning you was getting all the accolades, getting the most money, but you was neglecting yourself. You was neglecting your
Hmm.
health. And uh the thing is, and I've seen this in a post or a meme somewhere, they said if you was to die today, your job vacancy would be posted before your obituary would be posted. That's how quick you are replaceable. Um, it is so important, y'all. And I know we talk about growth and everything, but your health is wealth. And like she said, you got to make yourself a priority. Your self care,
Hmm.
everything is a priority, from the mental, the emotional, the physical, the spiritual. You are a priority. You matter. And so I can resonate with that because I went through that last year trying to get myself
Hmm.
that transformation because I didn't like how I looked. And I think for me, my turning point, you said on camera, when I did my photo shoot last year, when I turned 45 last year, and I got that, I was like, ooh, like I look pretty. Like they made me up, but then I
I saw
didn't
those
like
pictures, girl. You was cute. Come on now.
no, no. You gotta go back. I'm talking about the ones from May of last year. The ones
Mm,
from May, I didn't see. I look. They people say, "Oh, you look cute," but I know what I didn't like. How did it feel? My
yeah.
clothes. I used to wear black all the time to hide. Black hides everything. Or
Uh-huh.
stretchy pants.
Yeah.
So I get it. And so like now I'm like, all right, 46. I'm gonna be 46 May 31st. I'm gonna do another photo shoot. But now I'm gonna compare because I've been documenting the journey. So I commend you of saying, you know what? Oh, I gotta get my health in order.
Yeah. And I'm going to say this too. So I just turned 50 last year in November, and that was another turning point.
Well, you don't look
Look,
it.
oh, well, thank you. Look, and I'm gonna say this: you're 46. Enjoy that ride, because for me, this was the first birthday that I had to where there was a mind shift. I never had it before that because I woke up on my 50th birthday and I'm like, you know what? I literally have more days behind me than I have ahead of me. What am I going to do about that? So that was another thing that I thought about, because it was just like, I want to be here for my children, right? And I'm not a grandmother yet. Hopefully I will be one day. I'm just a grandmother to pets because my children have pets, right? My daughter has 3 cats and my son has a dog. So it's like, you know, I have grand pets. But I want to be able to, to experience what life is like to be a grandmother. And I'm not going to be able to do that if I'm stressing myself out, if I'm not eating right. And just to talk about stress. So another turning point for me was probably, and this is where it was a blessing in disguise, what I think. So probably 2 weeks before my position was eliminated, um, I had gone to the hospital because I was stressed out at work, and somebody had said something that really offended me. And I left work and I came home and took my blood pressure. It was 181 over 114. And, they were running all these tests, asking me should I be on medications. I was having heart palpitations all over because I was stressed out at work. So here it is 2 weeks later. And I'm saying to myself, I'm pouring in, I'm giving anywhere from 14 to 16 hours a day, 14, 18 hours a day. And because I want to be successful. And I thought, man, if I could just pour this much time into myself, I know I'd be a beast. So when I sat across from the person who told me my position was eliminated, I was smiling. Honestly, I wasn't even upset. So if you wonder why I'm smiling now, because honestly, I feel like I'm at peace. I feel like that I have more time for me. I have more time to focus on my transformation. I have more time to focus on my company. I just have more time to focus on my children and just to do the things that I want to do to put a smile on my face.
Well, I see the glow. This is the aftermath glow. Like,
Yes,
do we feel like when you left or when that happened, like 30,000 pounds that just came off because you started
yes,
glowing again? You like, dang, I
yes.
ain't got to go to bed. I ain't got to go to bed with a tightness of chest because when you working in
Hmm.
those crazy hours, you taking work to with you to bed. You already thinking about
Absolutely.
the day. Like, okay, so when I get
Hmm.
to 8, I gotta send this email to such and such. I gotta do this and do this.
Yep. And I'm a look, I'm very proficient with time management. I'm very proficient with following up. If I say I'm going to do something, it's already done. I don't when I tell someone I'm going to call you back or I'm going to reach out to you, I don't take that lightly when I say those things. So I try to be a person of my word. So taking notes, girl. One note was my best friend. I had so many tabs and notebooks just to make sure. It's like my boss looked at my calendar one day and he was like, "Is I said, that's my to-do list." He said, "You got like 50 items." And yeah, that was just for this week. Because if I say I'm going to do something, I make sure I track it. So, but as far as time management, organizing, being proficient in things like that, that's my specialty. So that's why I teach on those things as well.
I like that. Were you when you were working at this high demanding position with the hours and stuff? What would you say is the percentage wise? Well, we know that you wasn't, kind of making your health a priority, but as far as your entrepreneurship side of the house,
Mm,
were you giving how much was you giving to you? Like, I'm gonna work 9 to 5, 9 to 7 over here, and then when I come home, eat, and I'm gonna put 2 hours in my business. Did you even have
yeah.
time at all to put back
I'm
into Keisha L. Blair?
Man, I'm going to generously say 80/20, and that's probably giving 10% more than I should. You know what I mean? It was probably like 90/10, where I was giving them 90% and then I was saving 10% for myself.
Oh my
Just trying
God.
to make sure I was only pouring into me and to my own business. Like I said, and this is the legacy I want to leave for my children. So now because I'm not giving that 14, 16, 18 hours away to someone else. That's why I have time for the book, for the nonprofit, KeishaLBlair.com, Blair Investment. So these are the things that I'm doing for myself now because I was taking all this time and energy and pouring it into someone else's company. Now I can pour it into myself, into my company.
Did you ever experience any work burnout over the course of time?
You know, I think that the blood pressure thing was probably a signal, and I didn't. I mean, I was at work the next day, so it's like I didn't really adhere to it. Yeah, I went to work the next day. Um,
Wow.
well, no, I didn't actually go in, but I actually went to work, meaning like on my computer and on my phone. I was still trying to make sure that I kept these things up because, one thing that I always try to do and I speak on this as well, but when you decide that you want to move up into management, mentally you have to take ownership in the company, right? So mentally, I owned a piece of the company. So therefore, it wasn't just their company; it was my company. And these are the things. This is my piece of the business that I was responsible for. So I had to make sure that even if I was sick, I still took care of this. If I couldn't come in, I found somebody to take care of my piece of the business. And it was just that my CEO mindset to make sure that I took care of this because it belongs to me. So I just carried that mentality over to my own business.
Yeah. And because you did that, all those attributes, everything that you mastered on that job, like you said, you taking
Hmm.
it over to your own company, and now you can 10x your own company and give it the time. Birthed it. You birthing that thing,
That's
right?
right.
Pretty much.
Yes.
And whew, that's a lot. I felt that. I did feel that. Well, again, congratulations on the transformation. Like I said, I saw you was it last week, and you in Cancun, and I was like, oh, she living her life like it's golden over.
Yes, yes, yes.
Keep up the good work. I like that you're doing that and making it a priority. Now, fast forward now today, where we are today. So full-fledged entrepreneur, CEO, podcast host, like she said, y'all, nonprofit, working on the book. Okay, so you just like, you know what? I'm just going all in. What's the priority for Keisha? Like, what's the steps? Are we like? I know we already got the podcast, and y'all make
Hmm.
sure it's gonna be in my description notes, but make sure y'all go follow Alpha Intuition Podcast. It's out on YouTube. Um, Tell the people a little bit about that podcast. When you told it to me, I was like, "What?"
Okay, so Alpha Intuition podcast is really for, it's targeted for a male audience. Of course, we have women who listen as well, but it's just the tagline is helping men to crack the crazy girl code. And so what that means is that, so I'm like, right,
Wait,
look, you
hold
already know
on.
we crazy. You already
Wait,
know we crazy. Come on now, don't act like you ain't crazy.
I got a question before you go further. Please explain to the people out there, because when you said help the men crack crazy girl code, because there's different definitions of crazy, and I think we all have had our crazy moment.
Yes, exactly. So usually when a guy calls a girl crazy, you and I already know it's not that we're crazy. It's just because we're lacking in information from somewhere, right? So we just need to know where that information needs to come from. So what I basically do is to explain them instead of calling a woman crazy, why don't you try to understand where that behavior is coming from? So I basically just speak on female behavior on different topics and just try to help our brothers out so they can stop using that word because we know we're not crazy. We're just information seekers. And I always say, look, first of all, men and women, we all have, a certain level of craziness inside of us. And when we decide to be with someone, it just depends on what level of craziness you are willing to deal with because you're going to deal with some type of aspect of crazy whenever you date somebody, male or female.
I think the older you get, like man or woman, I feel like you so busy trying to concentrate on your peace and live life because, like you said, it was more behind than ahead. So you don't
Hmm.
really got time for the craziness.
Zero tolerance, baby. You be giving passes left and right. You be giving out passes like Skittles. Hmm.
So yes, I think the older you get is you be like, I ain't got time. I ain't got time for real, for real. What episode are you on?
It's still early, so I just started this podcast a couple of months ago. So tonight, episode 7 will drop at 6 o'clock Central Time, and tonight we're talking about mothers and sons, and just the relationships that just depending on the attachment styles that they can create from whatever dynamic they had as a child with their mothers. So that's what tonight's episode is going to be about, and that's episode 7. So yeah,
Okay.
yeah,
Please make
and I
sure y'all
forgot you
go
said that.
subscribe to the channel, like helping men crack the code, the crazy girl code. That's a catchy tagline. I ain't gonna even ask how did you just came about one day. You just like chilling one day, walking. You like, I'm gonna do this for the men because
See, this is the thing with me, okay? So I try to tell guys because I got working in construction and working in maintenance for 30 years. I've had a lot of in-depth conversations with men, right? And when you work side by side with somebody, every day you see them more than what you see your spouse. You tend to share some things. And I've just been privy to those conversations with guys. So I think I have a pretty good understanding of men more so than most women do. And so what I usually do is tell them that I'm fluent in Crazy Girl. I'm bilingual. So when they tell me something, I'm like, no, you tell me what happened. I'm gonna tell you what really happened. See, because I'm fluent in Crazy Girl. Because a woman ain't just crazy for no reason. It's something that you probably did that you're not admitting to. But you tell me what happened, and then I'm going to translate and tell you what really happened. So that's usually so that's kind of where that came from, and I just kind of helped them to crack that crazy girl code and understand that female behavior because no, she ain't just showed up at your job for no reason. It's probably because you didn't answer the phone after you were dating her, and now you act like you don't want to talk to her no more because you got to a certain point in that relationship and you lost interest, but you're not telling her you lost interest. So instead of you manning up and telling her you don't want to be with her, she just want to have a conversation. So yeah, and you told her where you worked, so fair game. She showed up at your job. And like,
let
how you know that? Because I'm bilingual and crazy girl. That's how I know.
so let me find out you was on your job, not only being the leader, but you was being the relationship coach too while you was
Okay,
there.
the relationship.
They
That's
probably
that's
sending
hey,
you like, Keisha, what you
look.
think about this?
I call myself the corporate relationship coach, but I wasn't speaking about those dynamics. But yes.
Oh my gosh. Wow. Wow. Well, congratulations on the podcast. We both are kind of in our beginning stages. So congratulations on that. And I can't wait to support it. And I'll definitely
Thank
be
you.
subscribing because I just want to hear. I need to hear this stuff. But so I definitely be checking that out as well. So now you're talking about so this new chapter of Keisha. This is a new chapter for you. You know,
Hmm.
it's the I say living my life like it's gold in the new me era. you working on a book and you're speaking kind of. So now the Keisha everybody wants to know, what can we
Yeah.
expect from you in this season?
So I think for me is basically just being the CEO of my life. And that's something that I speak about as well because there's some things going through my journey and, climbing that corporate ladder. There's some things I had to instill in my life and even my transformational balance, to where I had to start with creating my morning routine because my mornings are sacred to me. I don't answer the phone. I put on my motivational speaking. I put on my music. I do things for me. I have my bathroom mirror is just a mirror full of affirmations. I take magic markers and I write all over my mirror. And those are, that just helps to make sure that I pour into myself before I let anybody else try to take out what I've already um, put inside of me. And then I try to work on eliminating stress. Stress, as I saw, it can be a trigger to so many things, right? It can, man, it can actually kill you. It can kill us. So I want to make sure I don't die from stress. So I try to work on those triggers and I think about those things that cause stress and I try to eliminate them out of my life. And as I mentioned several times, I'm very proficient in time management and organizing. So for me, CEO is create, eliminate, organize. And I try to make sure that I just talk to other people about how to become the CEO of their life and make sure that they have a balanced life. And don't let anybody else disrupt that. You own that. And you make sure that you control your day and do not let your day control you.
Yeah, y'all better write that down. CEO, you better become the CEO of your life. I like that. And she actually teaches this, y'all. So if y'all want to book her, matter of fact, let me put this in here. Her information. But she talks about creating, starting your day, creating a healthy routine, not being
Hmm.
accessible in the morning. Pray, meditate, whatever you need to do, but create, command your day how you want it to go. Eliminate. Listen, if it ain't for you, we gotta go. I said this before. Stiff, still, cut a
Hmm.
loop. Your peace is everything. Eliminate any negative thoughts. Eliminate any negative vibes from others. They don't deserve access to you. And last but not least, organize. Organize by your time. Organize your day. This is Miss Calendar Queen over here. Like she you said you use OneNote.
Oh yeah, I love it. Love it.
OneNote.
That's my best friend.
See, I need to do more of that because what I do, I write everything. Like I'm old school. My day, I write everything down, and then as I'm doing it throughout the day, I'm crossing them out. I need to just get like you and just put it in my phone.
Yeah,
Um,
and I have lists all over the place. But for OneNote, OneNote is basically a digital spiral notebook. Remember in school where you had the five subject spiral notebooks? Well, but with OneNote, you can have as many subjects as you want, and it's just a huge spiral notebook. You can have different pages for each tab. So I love it.
and so since you are becoming the CEO of your life with the podcast, the book, you say you're working on this book.
Mhm.
What's your ideal date that you're trying to birth this thing?
Well, I want to get it done by September 5th, because that is the date that I wrote in my book that I said I was originally going to venture off on my own. So because I was catapulted into that stage a little bit sooner than what I thought, I want to have my book completed by September 5th of this year. So now that I put it out here on camera, I'm gonna have to stick to my word because that's what I do. So I got to
Yes,
get that
like
book
I
done.
told, like I told the last guest, Lamar Wilson. I said you pregnant right now, so we put. I'm telling you, I love. You got to put a date on stuff. So
That's right.
I'm
Got
gonna
to put
write
a
it
date
down.
on it.
September the 5th, 2024. Keisha L. Blair said she's gonna have her book out, her first book as a self-published author. You know, you wrote that down last year, and the Bible verse says, "Write the vision, make it plain." You had vision. You're a visionary. And when you write the vision down, a lot of times we don't see the steps in between. We don't see the steps. He don't show us what the in the middle
Mm-hmm.
phase, but we see the ends thing. So on September the 5th, 2023, you said you want to be on your own. You want to do your whole thing.
Mm-hmm.
You didn't write down all the steps. Maybe you did, and maybe the steps you had was not according to his plan, because
Mm-hmm.
where he got you now and where he put you now, you had to go through a shift and pivot where your job got eliminated. So it was like okay, gosh, I got to get your attention because this is where I need you to go so you can fulfill that September the 5th, 2023 vision that you wrote down. So that book is coming out before
That's
y'all heard
right.
it here, y'all. We look, this is I love it. I get excited for this stuff because I'm telling y'all, growth is a daily thing. So yeah. Oh my gosh. And then you're speaking. So people can book you. Y'all see her website is there. Corporations, would you do colleges? Where are you speaking at? That you accept
Right
requests.
now, I just, I'll speak anywhere. I have no problem with that. But, I speak on, of course, becoming the CEO of my life and helping people to become the CEO of their life, just to make sure that they have a well balanced life between work and home. And then I also do workshops for training. I do workshops on for team building. And so I try to do. I have a workshop that I do on a comparison between Herzberg and Maslow about the two-factor theory for team motivation, and then also the hierarchy of needs. So, and I compare those two together. So, and I think that's probably one of my favorites because people don't even realize how much they put their needs um, in line with how happy they are at work. Because most of the time, if a person is unhappy at home, they're going to be unhappy at work, right? And then why do we go to work? You go to work to fulfill these needs. So that's one of the workshops that I speak on, team
Wow.
motivation.
I like that. I like that. Well, nothing but great things happening your way. He ain't gonna put no more on you than you can bear. And continue just to walk in your purpose and walk in your gifts. I'm excited that we've connected. This ain't gonna
Yeah.
be the last you hear from me. We're gonna look, we connected now. So um you already know. So you know I'm here, always here if you need me for anything. And I'm just glad that God, connected me with you so you could be a part of not only my journey, but just to meet someone that I truly admired, like just your story. I love the fact that you shared it today. You proud of it, and you stand 10 toes down, like they say,
Yeah.
standing on business. You are standing on business. Say I am what I am today. So I really, really, really appreciate you, Keisha. My last question that I ask all guests, 60 seconds or less. Tell me, what does convicted to grow mean to you?
To me, convicted to grow is making sure that I hold myself accountable to doing the things that I'm going to do, to making sure that not only do I uplift myself, but that I help uplift others as well, which is where my nonprofit comes in, to where I'm committed to making sure that I get women and children, excuse me, women and young girls into maintenance and into the skilled trades. So convicted to grow, making sure that I keep my legacy growing from this point forward.
Oh, y'all heard it here. Y'all better pick her up for real, for real. And the nonprofit's coming out when this year too, or is that just
Yes,
something?
yes, I'm working on that now. So my nonprofit is called the Pink Tool Project. And where that name came from, really quick, was because on construction sites, men would always take my tools. So I said, you know what? I'm going to buy me some pink tools. And if anybody takes my tools, I'm going to know that they're mine, right? So Pink Tool Project came from me wanting to make sure that I took ownership and I didn't let guys steal my tools.
You actually got
And
they actually make
I
tools that
got,
are
I
pink?
got a, I have a pink toolbox. I have a pink toolbox about what three drawer and then a top box, and I got a whole pink tool bag, girl. Yes, ma'am. I got pink level. I got a pink tape measure. I got pink screwdrivers. I got pink whatever. I got pink tools. Look, I own my femininity in the construction world. Okay.
Okay. Yes. Yes. Listen, we're gonna manifest that pink tool project. I like that. I see it, and I see you have your little initials on it. You have your own line. I see we're gonna manifest Home Depot or Lowe's, y'all. Listen.
Yes.
Oh, she getting sponsorships from them because you are bringing awareness to women who are in that occupation or wanting to learn it. Girl,
Mhm.
I'm getting excited for you. For real, for real. I like that. The Pink Tool Project. Whoo! This is why you had to listen. That's why God said you got too many ideas. You got too many ideas. We gotta birth some things this year. Ain't no way
Yes.
all those ideas are just coming out just like this. So keep doing your thing. I'm proud of you. And just know that you'll always have a place over here. Anything that you get launched, and one of the things I'm going to start doing too, May, I'm going to start doing business spotlights on the YouTube channel. So anything you launch and you want me to put it out on my platform to promote, bring awareness, I got you. I got you.
Awesome.
Listen, y'all heard it here. Y'all heard her story. Please make sure you subscribe to the YouTube channel. I'm going to put all her information in the description as well as the show notes. So please make sure you pick her up. Then don't just go follow her. Everybody that you guys follow that has been a guest on my show, I tell you before, go like one of her posts, comment on one of her posts, and put hashtag convicted to grow. Hashtag convicted to grow. If you go and do that under one of her posts, videos, or reels, and she lets me know, you will get a special gift from me. Okay. I can't tell you what it is yet, but I want you to do that. Hashtag convicted to grow. And that way we know you came from the podcast. And remember, growth is a daily thing. Every day that you wake up, you get a chance of this thing called life. Life is precious. Life is a journey. And to some, life is too short. But while you're here on God's green earth, you keep striving to be the best version of yourself. You keep making yourself a priority because your health is wealth. And just know this is your winning season. We're not taking any L's. We're not thinking about an L. We're not going to think less. We're not going to think lack. And we're not going to think limited. Why? Because you got what it takes to win. And just know this, I am rooting for you. Until next time, I love you. Peace out.